Absolutely.
Also, I want to call back to one of our previous topics. We talking about like boys to men and teen years and shit like that, 20s. Right. I was further thinking about it. I was like, yeah, like I think the ignorance is bliss beauty of the teen years is you truly don't know what you don't know.
That's a fact.
And that's what comes with, like, you know, possibly some people with arrogance, some people just fumbling over yourself.
So they getting it right and their ego gets inflated type.
And then they'll say, older people say, you don't even know. I'm gonna tell you. Like, you truly don't even know. Like,
you can't even fathom it. Your brain can't even process that layer of thought.
Right. Yeah. And in your 20s, like, you know what you don't know, and you're trying to catch up. Oh shit! Now I see what they was talking about, whatever. And back to our, our overarching point is the 30s. Like, I know what I don't know. I troubleshoot it. Yeah. Now it's time to lock in on solutions.
Yo, real quick to your point. We talked about that, and I seen a bunch of men saying, because I said in your 20s you got an opportunity to make your mistakes, right? It's like, it's not as taxing as it is in your 30s and 40s to catch a case or to have baby mama. No, you should never make a mistake. You should never tell them to have a baby mama. Bro, what are we talking about? I'm saying that if that decision is done already, it's better for it to be done in your 20s than you to be 36 years old and not conscious enough about your decisions and the ramifications that come behind it because you lacking foresight. And sometimes, all the time, them decisions you make, if you use them as lessons, create the person that you need to be, and you don't get that level of experience without those experiences, right? Because the thing is, knowledge is just knowing. Wisdom comes from an experience. I wouldn't know what it's like to be a dad without having kids. I had my first daughter when I was 16 years old. Would I change it? No. Was I in survival mode as a parent? Absolutely. Did it offset a lot of the decisions that I could make as a kid? Absolutely. Did I put young women in predicaments based on my decisions, even though it was mutual because they decided to keep it, in predicaments that might have put them in struggle mode? Absolutely. But we can't say we like who we are if we hate the things that we had to go through to become who we are. And the fact of the matter, I wouldn't be who I am today without the decisions I made. I caught multiple cases. If I didn't catch those cases, I wouldn't understand how to not catch a case. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do it mean that some people can't learn from? Yes, it's people out here that be like, you know what? Because I had homies that caught bigger cases, and I'm like, yeah, learn my lesson. Don't want that. But the fact of the matter is, everybody's life not gonna look like that. So it's not like telling the kid, oh, don't make no mistakes. That's not realistic. That's why, as a mentor, you should be navigating them through real life paths. Like, all right, I see your trajectory. This is how I'm going to try to help you steer away from that, because this is the possible pitfalls you might find yourself in. And if you do fall into these pitfalls, I'm going to give you grace, and I'm going to give you understanding and patience to grow beyond it, because I went through it. Everybody's not going to be able to take your experiences and utilize it. Like, that's like books. Books only work if you apply the things that you learn. You can read 1,000 books on how to drive a fucking car, but until you get on the road, you're not going to understand what somebody mean when they say drive for others. You're not going to understand what somebody mean when they say don't do this, don't drink and drive. None of those concepts make sense to you because you have the knowledge, but you don't have the experience. So I would never tell somebody to hate themselves for their experiences, and I'm not going to tell somebody to avoid certain experiences if on the other end of it, it comes behind wisdom. That don't mean intentionally put yourself into these predicaments. It means know that, damn, I got her pregnant. I'd rather have did this at 19 and learn this shit than do this shit at 39, and I'm dealing with a chick that I'm not compatible with. So when I say your 20s is your time to make those decisions, it don't mean intentionally make those decisions. It means that if you have already done that, now is the time to kind of course correct, straighten it out, so in your 30s you never have to do it again. For the men that fucked up and you feel like a kid shouldn't fuck up, nigga, who would you be if you didn't fuck up? So stop thinking that your kids or any of your nephews or anybody is supposed to live a life and not go through development, because development comes through having we don't learn from getting it right. You never got 100 on the test and say, let me look at the notes and study why I got it right. You think you know it all. You only study when you fuck up. So unfortunately, sometimes these fuck ups is what it takes for you to become a refined version of yourself. And the beauty in it is everybody don't get the opportunity to learn from their fuck ups. And I think that that's the part that y'all got to understand. Some people made mistakes and decisions at a certain age that they never got a chance to learn from. And it was like, yo, this shit is a decision that I'm not able to learn from, because at the end of the day, it was this ramification that came behind it. So if you're in a predicament where you made a mistake and you might dread it, that just means you haven't did the self-work to accept the decision you made. It might have put you in predicaments that you didn't want to be in. But don't strip another young person an opportunity to grow from their mistakes if they were awarded the opportunity to learn from them, because you tell them they shouldn't make mistakes at all. It's not realistic. And that's why we mentor.
All right, 3 things. 1, you got really fired up for that one. You got your bag. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're on the run for that one.
Did I really?
2, the 100 get great in the test. That was a good one. You can KOA, and good one there. And third one to put a pin on it is like, like it's very simple. Like, you know, you would rather get a turnover in the first quarter than the fourth quarter. You know, with the game on the line. Yeah, so
I'd rather you turn the ball over in the first quarter. That was good. I'd rather you turn the ball over in the first quarter than when the game is on the line.
Yeah, so for people to think that's when you said it the first time, I don't see how people even kind of misconstrue that, because it's like, yeah, if you happen to go through certain things in your teens and 20s, learn from it, develop from it.
Motherfucker. Yeah. Come out of the half with a better strategy. Like, your 30s is after when we went to the locker room, we realized I fucked up. This is where the defense is showing
this. Still win the game.
Yeah, we got a whole other half to figure this shit out. But what's happening is y'all making these young boys think that they fucked their whole life up in their 20s and they throwing their life away because of that dumbass advice. No, you can change your entire fucking life if you literally assess. All right, cool. All right, I might have didn't get it right from 21 to 27, but if I take from now 28 to 35, the next 7 years, where can I end up based on better decisions? And I think that that's the thing that we need to harp on and highlight. Stop making these motherfuckers think that their life is over because they quit. I know a bunch of felons. All of my fucking friends is felons. They got successful businesses. We had to create a life that now say, you know what? I'm not relying on a degree to get me where I need to be. I'm not relying on you to hire me. I'm not relying on you looking at my resume. I'm going to take what I know and my skill set, because my record do not determine my knowledge. It don't determine my skill set. It don't determine my capability, my potential, or nothing. My integrity. All it means is on paper, at one point, I made a fucking decision that potentially put me in this predicament. Now, if it's a fucking repeat offender, now it shows a fucking character. This might be just my fucking character. But the fact of the matter is, if somebody made a decision, whether it was to be irresponsible sexually and have babies at a young age, or be irresponsible and be around the wrong crowd, or do the wrong shit in the wrong environments, bro, it's not over. All you got to do is figure out what you want your life to look like moving forward, and don't let nobody tell you anything else. You can change your life around. You just got to be intentional about it. Your life is not over, or it's not like, oh, you got a felony, you got a F-bomb, so now you can't do that. No, you might can't do certain things that come with limitations and restrictions. That's accountability. But you can create a life that you want to live based on your own energy and effort and what you do with your decisions. And that's what we here to tell y'all.
Absolutely. And again, you know, on a different level or lesser level, you know, I've always said that, like, again, like, you know, from my 20s to going into my 30s, I was like, that's not it. Like, I kind of, you know, missed the mark where I was aiming at, whatever. And I had to make a change. It wasn't like, I never thought like, well, it's done. It's over.
Fuck.
Yeah.
This one shot.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Right. Coach, sit me down. No.
Yeah, never that. So, you know, it's never too late if you want to make a change in general. But yeah, it's better to make, you know, to try to change to make the change at certain times, but it's also never too late. If you still got time, opportunity, and life,
you 40,
it's never too late.
And think about
just make it more challenging, depending on the
100%. And you gotta let go of your youth. I think that accept the fact that you're 37, nigga. Accept the fact that you're 43. Accept it and say, okay, how much youth do I have? I'm not as athletic as I once was. I'm not as fast as I once was. But how much youth do I have that I can still lean on to be able to enjoy the life I want to live and create that life? Like, you don't got to look at it like, oh, I didn't get it by 21, so fuck it. It's like, nah, bro. And then understand, on a simple pivot, think of how many, because we're going back to people learning through lessons, think of how many men didn't understand how real life was until they sat down. And like, sit downs don't always got to be prison. Like, something you sit down and you realize, you know what? I'm out of alignment. I need to get myself together. And for most men, it is prison, unfortunately. But when you come out, the purpose of sitting you down, right, is literally for you to be reform yourself. You don't have to worry about what their intentions is for sitting you down. Yours got to be, okay, what can I do within this time frame that I wasn't doing, that I need to focus on, that I need to harp on, that'll make me a better person, so that when I do get into these environments, I'm able to produce better than I was when I was just operating like this. And I think that if people understand, like, those be the things. Just like, sometimes you need that little sit down. And if you don't want it, right? But it's like, damn, it's like when I had to go back to my mom's crib. That was the rude awakening moment for me, beyond all of the stuff that I had to do to change my life around. That was the rude awakening. I'm like, damn, do I want to bring a girl into this crib? I'm talking all this provider shit. I'm living in my fucking mom crib. How the fuck I'm gonna be saying I want to? Like, that don't even make sense, right? So I was like, I'm not even being the man that's gonna be the man that I say I want to be with the woman I want. So let me at least do my part. Let me get to the man that I say I'm trying to be that person, and then now it's on the women. Now you gotta show up. I did my part,
and it wasn't over.
Yeah,
you had the time to sit down and assess. You weren't like,
it wasn't. And to your point, the shit wasn't over. It was just literally like one of them eye-opening moments, and it was like, yo, you gotta be willing to put your head down. Like, you gotta be willing to put your head down for 90 days at least.
Yeah, and I have this thought. I think this thought that I go through sometimes, where like, it's certain people we know about, like, in society, is like, yo, like, where they come from? Yeah. For instance, like, you know, like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is one of the most popular people in the world, but for most people, we only know it from the past 10 years.
That's a fact.
But he been a billionaire for like 20 years. But that last 10-year run is what changed everything.
100%.
You know, so I even think when there were certain people they've been putting in work, putting in time, refining, whatever. And a certain run you can have, a certain pivot, a certain change, a certain epiphany, eye-opening moment can change everything. And it can wipe out the past, even whether it was good or bad. Look, this shit don't matter no more.
Yeah.
And
it's like if you understand you living your life in decades, what you did from your 10s to your 20s, what you did from your 20s to your 30s, your 30s to your 40s. So a motherfucker could have been an actor in his 20s, been a nobody. In his 40s, been the greatest director that ever lived because he got positioned in alignment, used his resources and the experiences that he had, used his connects from acting to now be like, you know what, I want to create opportunities for others. And in doing so, boom, now he the biggest and greatest director of all. So if you understand, like, all right, you might have wanted to be a basketball player in your teens to your 20s. Then in your 20s, you're like, all right, ball is not life no more. Now I'm trying to figure it out. In your 30s, you might be a fucking youth coach and can change a lot of kids' lives.
Absolutely.
And it attaches you directly back to what you ultimately wanted to do. But the thing be, some people think it got to be them. And it's like, you might be the beacon of light that can help others. And it's still you doing what you love to do, but don't give up on what you wanted to do because you're not the one catching the touchdowns in the Super Bowl. You can get up and you can be on a staff. It don't got to be the NFL staff. If you're going to be on a youth staff to a middle school or high school staff to a collegiate program, and you might even get to that high level. And I think that the thing be where it's like, y'all not understanding that you living your life in decades. You think that your 20s carrying into your 30s. Like he said, it don't matter. Success or not, whatever that was, that 10 years was that was that. The 2010s to the 2020s is not the 2020 to the 2030s. And if you understand that in your own life, you'll be like, you know what? I'm 38 right now. How do I want my 40s to look? Simply asking yourself a question. How do I want this next decade to look? That will shape the woman you choose. That will shape the friends you connect with. That will shape the events you go to. That's going to shape the time and energy and effort you put into work and social life balance. Why? Because you now have a goal. And without a goal, you just doing anything. But if you're like, you know what? I know I want to be a basketball coach. Who do I know that's in basketball? Who got kids that potentially could be a basketball player? Who got a gym that I can have access to? Who got, you know what I'm saying? Who can help me train? Who can be a part of that?
People too, but you overlooking it.
Because you wasn't thinking about it. You thinking about who you can go drink and smoke with. What chicks you can run down on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, bro, like